to First Things First. It is Monday. I'm Jenna Wolf. That's the Hall of Famer Cris Carter. That is Nick Wright. We had a fantastic weekend of sports. All three of us were in three different places on one big, gigantic Masters text all weekend long, which was really nice. It's nice that I could still be with you even when I'm not with you.
Hold on, that's great.
What is that?
No.
What is that?
All right.
Hold on. If you turn the camera around, everyone in the studio is holding a pen, knowing full well that I forgot.
You're one away from being even.
Cece?
Cris finally won one of these bets.
Okay. Full disclosure to America.
Here we go.
Full disclosure.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You know, I use this analogy a lot.
Yeah.
Jenna's like Randy Moss, but I got to get her, make sure I get her to the field.
Did you give her this pen?
I got
Give me that backhand and owe me $100.
I walked out here, Nick, on Friday, I said, I'm going to bring a box of pens.
You forgot it again?
All of them.
That's $300 you've cost this
I know, but listen.
He can buy you 600 pens.
There will be a box of pens under the table
that's what
tomorrow.
You said last week.
No, this time I won't forget. All right, should we start the show now that I'm like Randy Moss?
Maybe you should mature a la Odell Beckham.
I
bet Odell's got hot takes on your inability to come to work prepared.
I bet Odell has pens, too.
Maybe you do a little touchdown dance when you finally bring a damn pen to work.
Not the way he does it. Hey, we start this morning with the latest on Odell Beckham Jr. They're the most talented players to come through the organization in years because of all the off-the-field distractions. I wondered aloud, in the form of a question, whether we thought Odell had perhaps realized what those distractions were possibly costing him. The answer was seemingly a resounding yes. The team holds the first day of off-season workout today, and Odell has told reporters that he will be there, even without the new contract he wants. So, Cris, I'll open the conversation up with you. How important is it for Odell and the Giants that he is showing up today? Because there were other rumors that he wasn't going to show up at all until he got his new contract.
It's very important because it's not only the first day of the new football season, but it's also the first day for the new head coach. Let's not forget, Pat Shermer came over as offensive coordinator from Minnesota. Him and Odell had struck up some type of relationship before we get to this point. Dave Gettleman, he's the new general manager, coming over from Carolina. Both of them very, very respected. It's very important that they are able to show Giants fans and the Giant locker room that everyone's on the same page. It's nice that we've had these rumors about Odell, getting traded and everything. We know there's tremendous value out there, but today is the first day. So it becomes very important that the message, that they can stay on cue. Odell told reporters, told some other people that he's going to be there. At this point where Odell is, it's very important that he's able to live up to everything that he said. Now, when the video surfaced, that was the problem Pat Shermer and Dave Gettleman that they had. This is not the type of behavior that we had discussed. The owners, when they talked about being disappointed, because it's not the behavior, it's not things that we said that we would be involved with this offseason, with this being, let's not forget, his most important offseason. So it's very important to be there. It's very important, given that he hadn't seen his teammates or been around his teammates, that you're starting to build what the New York Giants are going to look like in 2018.
Before I answer, I want to ask you one question, and it's a little tough because it's a predictive question about something that didn't happen. If this video hadn't come out, would Odell be there today without his contract?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
So you think that this wasn't something of a make-good? You think this was his plan would have always been to show up to this part of the offseason
Not that there's anything wrong with a make-good. That would have been a fine gesture.
But you think this form of the offseason he was going to show up to regardless of video?
Right, because the chance of him getting hurt are minimal.
Okay.
I mean, there's a minimum chance that he's going to get hurt, but the overall message to his teammates and everything, all-season training is not training camp. And trying to compare them and make them the same thing, I believe it wouldn't play well to the players in the locker room.
Okay. All right. So that's interesting. My takeaway from where we're at now with the Odell Beckham situation is once he gets there, I hope it is a reminder to him and to the organization that if we don't get this figured out, if we don't come to some type of long-term contract agreement that then ends up resulting in Odell getting traded if they don't come to that, I believe it is something both parties will regret. I think Odell will regret if he's no longer a New York Giant. And I think the Giants will unquestionably regret if they couldn't make it work with the most talented player this team has had since Lawrence
It wouldn't
Taylor.
be the Giants' fault, though. What have the Giants done wrong?
Well, if they end up trading him, if they end up deciding that...
But if they trade
The only way they would trade him is if they couldn't come to a contract agreement. So that would be his demands are too outrageous for them. They would have to come off of him. So what have the Giants done? The Giants have not, there is no fault or there shouldn't be any regret as far as the Giants are concerned.
Well, I don't always, you and I tend to look at contract negotiations a little differently. I don't always look at when two parties can't come to an agreement. I have to know the details of the negotiation before I'm ready to say the player was being unreasonable. Sometimes the player's unreasonable, sometimes the team's unreasonable. I just think the best case scenario, Jenna, for both parties is that they work out a contract and that Odell spends the bulk of, if not the entirety of his career with the Giants. And I think this is a step in that direction. If we heard today he wasn't showing up, that would be another step away from each other when these two parties should be taking steps toward each other.
If he didn't show up today, the Giants are not taking a step. The Giants are at the building. They run the business. They're there. If Odell doesn't show up, that's him taking a step away from them.
I agree with
that's
you on
not
that.
them.
I agree with that. Go ahead.
Do either of you think that Odell has lost leverage when it comes to the negotiations now? I know we're both talking about the Giants coming and Odell coming to the table and trying to resolve something. But do you feel, I thought him showing up meant he lost a little bit of hand in this negotiation because of everything that happened, because now trade rumors were swirling, which there were never going to be trade rumors about Odell Beckham, seemingly. But do you think now he's lost a little bit of the power or the leverage he's had when it comes to now demanding what he thinks he's owed in his contract?
Well, of course, with the information that comes out, he can't be as demanding. How much is that? No one knows. The Giants own his rights. The Giants can also franchise him. So there's not a lot Odell can do besides just talk. The only thing he can do is try to show up and get the contract. If the demands are too high, like, there's nothing the Giants can do about that. They still have Eli Manning on the books for $20 million. So it becomes difficult. How much money are they going to commit to someone who they can't predict what he's going to do in the future? It's not necessarily always the money. It's the inability to predict what's going to happen in the future, which is probably more troublesome for the Giants.
What's going to happen as far as his health, or what's going to happen as far as his off-the-field stuff?
I think the health thing, I think people have to recognize the type of injury he had.
It is fluke.
Well, I mean, I don't...
He's not considered an injury risk.
Exactly. He's not a guy that's been injury prone. It's not the type of injury that when it happens, you're like, oh, it's not Steph Curry spraining his ankle, where it's like, oh, high risk of reoccurrence to broken bones. So, and if we remember, if we can go all the way back, it feels like a lifetime ago, that after the major injury happened, not the preseason injury, but the major one, Cris talking to Odell on the phone and trying to make him feel better about the situation was like, hey, let's just go up your body and talk about how much worse it could have been.
Yes.
What if it was your knee? What if it was your hip?
Yeah.
What if it was your back? What if it was your neck? Like, if you're going to suffer a broken bone, as odd as it sounds, like ankle and I guess forearm would be the ones that you can most easily recover from as a wide receiver. To answer your question, I think the total dollar amount his contract is going to end up being is not going to be that much different than if this video hadn't come out. What I think will be different is the amount of that is fully guaranteed and the amount of that is voidable through bad behavior or suspension. That's where I think he really put himself in the jackpot with this. Is he has very little negotiating power to say, why would you want these clauses in my contract, when they could just say, well, let me show you. Here's why we want those clauses.
And that's what I meant by leverage.
Yep.
Exactly. His negotiating power is lessened just a little because they have all this stuff out there on him that he's been through and he's done.
What is a day like today, though? Like, what new coach? I'm not just talking about for Odell, but like for the Giants as a whole. New coach, first day where everyone can be together, everyone can talk. Like, what is actually going on at the Giants facility that he's going to be a part of?
It's time to issue what Pat Shurmur, how he's going to run the team, what type of coach he's going to be. It's the first time he's addressing all those guys together. In free agency, the offseason, you got a lot of new guys in the locker room, so it's very important. Your nucleus of guys, Odell Beckham, Snacks Harrison, Eli Manning, guys like that they are there and that they are lieutenants for Dave Gettleman, lieutenants for Pat Shurmur, to be able to explain to the younger players, this is what the coach is talking about. This is the kind of offense we're going to have now. This is the kind of defense we're going to, because they're going through a lot of changes with their personnel. So today's an important day to establish what kind of football we're going to play, how the head coach is going to be, and he will issue challenges to the players of what they're doing, and they'll set a goal. I guarantee you the day the Giants will say, we want to be Super Bowl champions, Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta. That's the New York Giants. That's what they typically have done as an organization.
Yes or no, before we move on, are all the trade rumors behind us now, do you think, moving forward? Is that
no, because if the demands are too high, that'll kick up. It's easier to trade before the draft because this year's draft picks are far more advantageous than kicking it off to 2019. But they can't come to a contract agreement. We'll be discussing it again.
We got a little more time then. All right, coming up, we'll switch gears, talk a little basketball. Hey, how dangerous are the 76ers to the Cavaliers? That's next on First Things First.
Man, I don't care if Ben Simmons can't shoot. He can play.